Cool. Thanks for coming. My name is Dallas. I'm one of the enrollment advisors here at Coder Academy. We'll just give it a couple of moments for a few more people to come in. In the meantime, I'm going to get Henry, one of our other enrollment advisors, to come on. Hey, Henry.
Hey, Dallas. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well. If you don't mind, Dallas, I'm just going to do quickly while we are waiting for everybody to come. I'm just going to do the housekeeping a little bit. So for everyone who wants to ask some questions, just feel free to send it throughout the session. Just keep in mind that when you are sending it for the first time, you need to change it actually to the all panelists and attendees. That's something we can't do for you from our end. So I just want to make sure that all questions are visible to all attendees and the panelists as well. So if you can do that, that would be fantastic. Some of the questions will be left to the end intentionally. So if you see me not replying to your questions, I'm not simply ignoring it. I promise it's going to be answered at the end. All right. And now back to you, Dallas, and everyone enjoy.
Cool. Thanks for that, Henry. And also, just in case you have got the latest version of Zoom like I do, I just realized it now says everyone. So instead of choosing hosts and panelists, please choose the everyone option. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and get this underway. If anyone can please say hello as well into the chat, that'd be fantastic, just so we know you can hear us. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. And away we go. So reinvent your future, Australia's only accredited coding bootcamp. So become a full stack developer in as little as 6 months. So our fast track bootcamp, yes, you can become a full stack developer with just 6 months training, or with the flex track bootcamp, 10 months training. So who employs full stack developers? So essentially so many people, everyone really. IT companies obviously taking on full stack developers, front end, back end, everything. Retail, since COVID's come about, online retailers boomed, and there's plenty of developer work out there for a lot of online retailers. So financial institutes, plenty of like banking places out there that are chasing devs for like things for fintech. Think about Afterpay and ZipPay, those sort of things. Absolutely plenty of room to for growth in those areas, and plenty of digital agencies as well. So obviously data is king these days, and there's so much of it. So there's plenty of room for data analysts out there and data science in general. So the average salary for a full stack dev is about 110K. So I'd probably say that, like starting salary for a junior dev would be between 60 and 75K a year, and average being 110K. There's plenty of room for growth as well. So there's not bad money in the industry. Gain in demand skills. So just under 25% job growth within the next 5 years. So full stack development remains one of the most in-demand IT skills. So full stack developer, meaning that you'd be proficient in front end and back end development. It makes you a versatile developer, and it's one of the more sought after devs in the industry. So with job growth there, 100,000 job openings in Australia are forecast over the next 3 years as well. So these are just a couple of companies sorry, that our grads are working at, and some of the companies that we partner with for our internship. So there's a few big ones there that you might be able to see, a couple of medium-sized ones and a few smaller ones as well. But yeah, that's just a drop in the ocean really of the partners that we deal with. So here's Samuel. He went from a graphic designer to associate software engineer at Qantas and now at Atlassian, which is a pretty big deal, to be honest. He was employed within 2 weeks of completion of the course, and his salary was $55,000 a year. Now, that was in 2018. So like I said, the starting salary sort of jumped up a lot since then. But the bootcamp taught me to be relentless, persistent, cooperative, and always be humble. I did not just undergo a change of mindset, but a change of character as well. And Emma Bindi, if you happen to be at one of our recent live events, she actually came on for a chat with me. She came from finance and accounting to become a developer at 8 Squad. So I believe she's still at 8 Squad actually. She was employed 1 week after graduation, and within 6 very fast-paced and very fun months, she made a career change and, is now employed as a developer. So she absolutely loves it. Gray, from corporate strategy to back-end developer, current Coder Academy student. I think I had a stereotype in my head about what a coder is. I am not particularly interested in getting the latest gadgets or staying up playing computer games. So previously, I didn't see myself as a coder, but I've since learned two things. One, there's a huge variety of people in coding, and two, the most important thing is an interest in coding itself. So yeah, absolutely, follow your dream. Coding is a lot different to a lot of what people sort of think it is these days. There's a lot of group work, and you're a cog, and everyone works together, and it's quite exciting, and things are really fresh, always moving. You're not sitting in a dark room, coding away by yourself, like with a hoodie pulled up, it's not like a 90s movie. So the Coder Edge, we're the original Australian coding bootcamp provider with a 98% positive rating on Course Report. Hopefully Henry can throw a link in actually to Course Report if he hasn't already. Essentially, Course Report is just a place where students can come and basically post like unbiased reviews. And we're lucky enough to have a 98% positive rating on there. So I guess a lot of people genuinely enjoy what we have to offer. So that's always good. So approach to learning. We have a bootcamp style learning. It's hands-on and it's practical. And there's also an optional 4-week internship at the end, which I'll talk a little bit more about soon. But the bootcamp style learning, I guess we're not like, getting you to sit in lecture theaters. Approximately about 30 students usually per cohort. So it's a lot more intimate, a bit smaller. And so that, everyone can get the attention they need. And, I think there's about 850 plus hours of hands-on practical coding in our boot camps. And I guess the way that we actually deliver the content is that it's sort of like clustered together. So subjects are sort of intertwined. It allows us to deliver the content in such a way that it's more aligned with the industry itself. So you'll be doing assessments that will be set up the same way that, you will be completing, I guess, projects in a tech company or a tech firm as well. And also when you come on board, the educators, you can sort of look at them as senior developers. And as soon as you walk in the classroom, you can be considered yourself as a junior developer. So you start learning from the very beginning. And essentially it's just a really easy transition from education to industry itself, because we're teaching what is needed to know, to learn for day-to-day, day-to-day in tech. So employment outcomes. You may have received some emails from us, and I like to throw these quotes around. So 50% are hired from internship, and 80% are hired within weeks of graduation as well. Okay, so the student experience, industry experts and mentors come through. We got leading events and first-class student experience. So, I say that, it's probably about, 3/4 of the boot camp is about teaching you what you need to know to thrive in tech. And then the remainder is essentially based around networking events and sort of like upskilling in networking, and also getting mentors and having mentor sessions. So people coming in to the classroom, or people even, coming on virtually from around the world, people from Google sometimes, that sort of thing, or like, smaller tech companies like around, your area. Well, basically we'll get someone to come in and have a bit of a chat with you, discuss, who they are, what they do, how they got to where they are, and maybe talk about, some things that they wish they could have done, or give you some tips. And also it's a great place to sort of like connect with them on LinkedIn and Twitter and that sort of thing too. So our coding boot camps. So today we are talking about our web dev boot camps, right? So that's Fast Track and Flex Track. That's the two options we have. So our intake for Fast Track is actually coming up next week. So Monday next week. So absolutely do not hesitate. And please ask all the questions you need to ask, because, we don't have that much time before Fast Track sort of comes around. So the intake for Fast Track is August 16th. And then we've got the Flex Track Bootcamp, which is actually October 14th. So a little while away there. 6-month bootcamp or a 10-month bootcamp. They both have the 4-week optional internship, and they both have blended delivery. So essentially with the blended delivery, we'll talk about Fast Track first, being Monday to Friday. So Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is delivered in class on campus. That's where the new content gets delivered. And then the Thursday and the Friday is actually asynchronous learning, where you'll be ticking away doing sort of like, modules autonomously, that sort of thing. You'll be, surrounded by your peers when you log into the platform, and you'll have a rotating roster of educators there available to you as well. And then for Flex Track, that's Thursday to Saturday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday and the Friday is the new content being delivered, so in class on campus. And then you've got the Saturday is the asynchronous learning, like the Thursday and the Friday from Fast Track. And so keep in mind as well, with lockdown and even outside of lockdown, we do offer virtual attendance for these boot camps if you are an Australian citizen or a permanent resident. So essentially, if you're considered a domestic student, you are able to join us virtually outside of lockdown if you want to as well. But a lot of students say that they get the best experience when they do come into class. So we absolutely encourage you to come into class. And so that's the title we spoke about. The locations are Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. So Brisbane currently is the only campus that's not in lockdown at the moment. fresh out of lockdown actually though. So you never know. And the qualification is a higher education diploma of IT. So that's actually what the accreditation itself is, which means that basically, because we're a university level, we deliver university level subjects. You could, potentially, if you wanted to, after completion of our course, move on to another institute like university and get a fair bit of recognition of prior learning for what you have covered in our boot camps. There's a few off the top of my head, I think, that actually give you the first year off of a computer science degree, and that's RMIT, AIT, Deakin University as well. Also Sydney University of Technology, I believe as well. So yeah, that's just a couple I can think of, but yeah, you will definitely get recognition of prior learning for our subjects. And so the pricing there, we've got domestic is just under $20,000 and international is just over 25,000. So either way, you'll be able to pay in 3 installments. So the first installment gets you locked in, and the second and third installment is paid at least 1 week prior to term 2 and 1 week prior to term 3. So there's 3 terms in total for this bootcamp. And if you are an Australian citizen or permanent resident considered like that, then you will have the option of fee help available to you, which is a government loan where you can defer the fees until afterwards when you get a paying job. So you will learn. So term 1, you'll cover HTML and CSS. You'll build a portfolio website. You'll do some Ruby programming, and you'll build a terminal application. So if you don't know what all these things mean, that's totally fine. We can have a bit more of a chat about it at the end with any questions. But either way, you'll learn all these things because we teach you from the ground up. You don't really need to have very much sort of coding, skills under your belt. All we really ask for you is that you have a passion to learn. You enjoy problem solving, because coding really is mainly problem solving, and also have dabbled in just some sort of online coding modules. We just want you to get a taste of it and sort of be hungry for it, and know what to expect when you come into our classes. So yeah, HTML and CSS, build a portfolio website, do some Ruby programming, and then you'll build a terminal application. And then in term 2, you will do some Ruby on Rails, which is Ruby being the object-oriented language, and Rails is the framework that goes along with it. You'll touch on some discrete maths, okay, which is not as scary as you think it is. Basically, discrete maths is the kind of maths that sort of gets you ready to essentially create algorithms. So you'll be able to build algorithms after completing our course. You'll discuss deployment, and you'll also build a 2-sided marketplace. So an example of a 2-sided marketplace might be carsales.com or eBay. So they're good examples of 2-sided marketplaces. So we'll teach you how to build one of those. And then term 3, you'll be touching on JavaScript and React. So JavaScript being the object-oriented language and React being the framework. And then you'll build a full stack web application for a real client. So that one, we can't really talk about too much because it kind of like changes. Essentially, that last project or last assessment is going to be a group assessment, and really, everyone gets a different client, and you could be building a piece of web-based software for them to use. You could be building a web portal for their website. You could be redesigning their website. Essentially, who knows? It could be anything really. But that's where you really put everything you've learned into action. And it's going to be exactly like it is in the workforce. And then you've got optional internship after that. So essentially, if you're eligible for internship, then you can move on to internship afterwards. To be eligible, you essentially need to have a first-time pass rate on assessments, and you also need to have a good attendance record. So essentially, turn up to class, guys. It's as simple as that. You'll also do a couple of mock-up interviews and sort of get your soft skills ready. And then essentially, yeah, we'll do our best to place you into an internship. We can talk a little bit more about internships further with questions at the end if you want. And then what does this mean? So you'll be able to design and build a beautiful, fully functional, responsive, user-friendly web application. So these are just a couple of examples, a couple of screenshots of the front pages of a few portfolios, web-based portfolios that people have created. Okay. Our boot camps are ideal for career changes, so no previous IT experience. Career changes are probably they take up the lion's share of the students that we take on board. So essentially, you don't have to really know much. Like I said before, we don't have too high expectations because we are willing to teach you everything from the ground up. So we're not expecting too much from you to begin with. Upskillers, so people currently in IT roles and want to develop advanced programming skills or scale up into code web development roles, maybe just brush up on the skill set. And uni students and grads, so those that want a faster, more industry focused and career oriented pathway than uni provides. So essentially, unfortunately, we do get a few people who have actually completed uni and come on board, and I feel for them because they didn't get what they needed from uni and weren't able to get a job afterwards, but they come on board with us afterwards, mainly for the internship. But when they do come on board, they quickly learn that the content that we deliver is so much more intense and so much like it just gives you so much more than what they did learn at uni. So they come out the other end with a lot more skills than they actually anticipated. But yeah, so essentially, if you're looking to choose, whether you're going to go down the uni path or whether you're going to go down the bootcamp path, I absolutely suggest to join us for a bootcamp first. If you want to go to uni afterwards, no worries. Like I said, you can get recognition of prior learning after completion of one of our boot camps. So you may as well do this one first because there's a good chance you do the boot camp and then participate in an internship and then end up landing a job in the industry afterwards, and you will have saved yourself a good couple of years. Some past mentors there, Dr. Susan, Assistant VP, Head of Digital Engineering, APAC Cognizant. And then you got Chris Lang, who was the GM engineer at JB Hi-Fi. And then you got Janelle Shane, Research Assistant and TED Fellow featured in the New York Times, The Atlantic, Wired, Popular Science, All Things Considered, and Slate. So that's just a couple of mentors that we get in. Like I said, people from different companies come in for a chat, talk about who they are, what they do, how they got to where they are, that sort of thing. And why Coder Academy? So we're just going to play this little bad boy for you.
The pace and like the content that we learn, it seems there's not a lot of the university fluff that would be there. Like the course is very sort of streamlined, like exactly what you need to know, and it's all incredibly practical.
The company that I was working at, there was a startup, all of like the really high up managers, the CTO were all pretty favorable about Coder. My cousin's brother had interns from Coder as well, so yeah, it was probably hearing good things from people.
His expectations are going to be different. My expectations were a lot higher than when I got there, but in hindsight, like now that I've finished the course and I'm in my internship, the way that the course is structured is very similar to when you're like in the industry.
Sort of circling around a sales job, and I really needed to make the switch, and Coder Academy came along. It was 10 months, it was intensive, it was part-time, and so it fit into my life schedule essentially to be able to upskill, but I always knew I was going to upskill.
The internship was a huge draw, and also the time span. So I was going to be able to do it in a short period of time, And, you know, provided I did well, then I'd be given the opportunity to get some real world experience before I went job hunting.
Instituting that sort of sense of camaraderie in the class. Knowledgeability, professionalism, my lecturers have been fantastic, and the pace of the course has been great as well. So I've always moved faster than my education, so this is like a pleasant challenge.
I did know fairly instantly when I before I entered, started doing that little bit of HTML, and I'm a very creative person. I love creating things and seeing them come to life. And the funny thing about coding is it seems like this really logical thing, and it totally is, but within those constraints that you're sort of given, it's actually quite creative, and not even just on the front end either. Like, I came into Coda thinking I'm going to be like this designer front end guy, and I left obsessed with like functionality and back end and automation, and there's so much creativity, like even just in that.
Cool. So that guy at the end, Rory, he was actually a high lift crane driver, and now he did the boot camp. He actually managed to land a job as a developer before the boot camp even finished. So he actually bypassed the internship opportunity, and now he's quite a successful DevOps engineer, funnily enough. So that's a bit of a story for you. So scholarships. Okay, so we actually have our Diversity in Tech Scholarship available for Fast Track and Flex Track. I believe Diversity Scholarship actually cuts off tomorrow for the Fast Track Bootcamp, which is starting on Monday. But for Flex Track, it actually hasn't opened yet. But either way, the scholarships, the Diversity in Tech Scholarship, it actually gives you 50% off the course price. And essentially, there's more about it on the website. You can check out. There's a whole bunch of information. But basically, you just sort of showcase yourself as diverse. Talk about sort of what you where you came from, and where you're gonna go with your skill set after you've been in the boot camp, and that sort of thing. And yeah, there's a chance of winning 50% off the course price. So there is essentially a scholarship position available for Fast Track Brisbane, Fast Track Sydney, Fast Track Melbourne, and for Flex Track the same thing. One for Brisbane, one for Sydney, one for Melbourne. So also this is pretty cool. So learn to code, free coding taster. So feel free to either go to that website or scan the QR code. But basically, this is some YouTube tutorials, just some internal learning tools that we have available, and you can just have a bit of a play around there and see if it's something that you're all about. And yeah, it's just a good place to sort of start. So this is the application process, and don't be afraid of it at all. So essentially, you just need to apply on the website. Hopefully Henry throws a link in soon for you guys to apply, and then after you've applied, we'll go through an admissions interview process. Just mainly it's just a short chat to make sure you're a good fit for us and we're a good fit for you. And then after, if all goes well, you'll be sent an enrollment link, and you can complete your enrollment link, and then you can jump into the course. So yeah, with the application itself, all we ask is like a couple of sentences to a short paragraph for each answer. We're not asking for a novel or anything, but just discuss why you want to do the course, and talk about your sort of technical capability so far. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's quite chill. But yeah, guys, we really want you to make sure to get all your questions answered here today, because we're so close to the Fast Track bootcamp starting on Monday the 16th. And yeah, if you haven't applied and you're sort of like on the fence there, absolutely get an application in, because also keep in mind that you're not locking yourself into anything until you complete your enrollment link and pay that first installment, whether it's out of pocket or whether it's using a fee help loan. So applying cannot hurt, and doing your admissions interview cannot hurt. You're still not locked into anything. So absolutely get an application in soon if you're really considering it. And yeah, apply now at the website. And this is myself here, and this is Henry. And so essentially, feel free to reach out to us. There's a good chance that most of you have already spoken to us at least once as well. But yeah, if you have any questions at all and you don't want to ask questions, tonight through chat, then absolutely reach out to us, tomorrow or any day really. And that's our details. So connect with us. Make sure to follow us on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. There's a lot of cool things to learn actually if you follow us on Instagram, and Twitter especially. We find that a lot of our students past students still tag us in things and talk about things that they've done and where they are now. So you get a really good sort of indication of I guess the community that is sort of built from joining one of the Coder Academy cohorts. And that's it. Cool. Henry.
All right, thanks, Dallas. That was pretty good. I
Cool.
think there was some useful information. We had a few questions. So most of them are pretty much answered, but guys, keep sending it because we're gonna be talking now about this stuff. So if you have any questions, just go and ask. Now, there was one from Cameron just literally as you finished, asking, I think I read something on the website about Brisbane not being available for international students. Is this correct? Go ahead, Dallas. You are located in Brisbane. I will leave that one to you.
Yeah, look, it is true. It's true. What it comes down to is it just comes down to licensing. I'm sorry, unfortunately. Basically, the Brisbane campus is not CRICOS approved, and so we cannot take on international students. Yeah, look, and that's really it. And it's unfortunate. I mean, we share a campus with International House, yet we cannot take on international students. It's because of a license. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right. Now, question from Evelyn. Can you talk a little bit more about application for the scholarship? That's a good topic.
Yeah, sure. So the application for scholarship, I guess, you just got to sort of, be yourself. Really, you just answer the questions as best you can and try to I guess, make yourself, as appealing as possible and talk more about your, the diversity that is you. It could be because of your religion. It could be because you've come from an industry that has nothing to do with computers. Maybe it's, maybe it's, I don't know. Yeah, could be doing anything really. But essentially you want to talk about why you are diverse and why you would be a good pick for the scholarship. And then it also asks for a portfolio. So the portfolio, this is really important because a lot of people get confused with the portfolio. Essentially, you could, give us, submit a web-based portfolio, but we're not expecting that because, we're going to teach you to build one of those anyway. And, we don't expect phenomenal, development skills just yet because that's what we're going to teach you. So some people will submit a song. A lot of people submit vlogs. So basically take a video of yourself and give yourself a little bit of a story and talk about that sort of thing. Some people submit physical, books that they've made, all sorts of things. It's pretty crazy, but that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, you just sort of do what you can. And then after you've submitted that, then you'll get invited to a scholarship interview where you'll actually sort of come in front of a panel, which is fairly diverse. And yeah, essentially sort of just, talk about, why you are a good pick and answer some questions.
That's it. Question from Mushtaba. Can you touch on how COVID teaching will be in Sydney? So I will just quickly get this one done. Obviously, we are following the government advice. So if the lockdown is imposed on Sydney metro area, we have to follow the rules. From the past, I can tell you that the moment the government restrictions will be eased up, we will, of course, move again face-to-face or blended version, I should say, because with the fast track, you are guys looking at 5 days a week, which would be 3 days on the campus and 2 days done virtually from home. With the flex track version, it's 3 days in total per week, and you will be looking at 2 days face-to-face and 1 day online or virtual from your home. So that's always going to be achieved the moment we are able to actually go back to the campus.
Cool.
Another question from Cameron. Sorry, one more question in that case. No need to say sorry. You just keep asking as many as you need. would I be able to take it online from Brisbane? So that's, I think, is linked to the international students question.
Yeah,
And
cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's actually a really good question that you asked. So Cameron, if you are, considered an international student, so you're on like a student visa or something like that, essentially you can't actually attend virtually. So during like lockdown, when virtual attendance is sort of mandatory, you absolutely can join, you can join virtually then. But if the campus that you are actually enrolled in goes back to in-class on campus, then you will then need to go to in-class on campus. Unfortunately, the virtual attendance is only allowed for domestic students. So, Australian citizens and permanent residents and also special category visa holders. It actually comes down to your visa. To be honest, it's actually not us saying international students can't attend virtually. It's actually the visa that you hold. Unfortunately, it does not allow you to attend virtually when the course does not need to be attended virtually. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thanks, Dallas. Question from Leo. Can you expand a little bit more about the online part of the course?
Yeah, cool. So I guess when you say online, you be really careful when you say online, right? So there's a big difference between online and virtual. So it depends. If you're talking about online, then I would say you're probably referring to the asynchronous learning, which is online. So that'd be for fast track, the Thursday and the Friday, or for flex track, it would be the Saturday. So basically you log into your platform. Your peers are also logged into their like socials. You'll probably end up getting a Discord channel that you share with a lot of peers and also your educators. And essentially you'll mainly be, ticking through autonomous tutorials. Some of them will be written, some of them will be like video tutorials, and you'll be sort of working your way through them. So that's sort of like an asynchronous online learning day. And also really important that I didn't touch on before because it can get really extensive, but essentially with fast track, for instance, right? The Monday, Tuesday, and the Wednesday, you absolutely have to be there, okay? Because that's when new content is delivered. You absolutely need to attend those classes. That's when you're going to learn everything you need to know. The Thursday and the Friday with the asynchronous learning, okay? It's recommended to absolutely jump on board and complete those tutorials and modules, in the time frame that we've sort of set, because you will have access to, talking to your peers and your educators. They'll be there as well if you get stuck on anything. But that content that needs to be completed for the Thursday and the Friday, you can actually, if you wanted to, take the Thursday off and maybe complete them on the Friday and the Saturday, as long as you've got that work, let's say those, completed by the Monday, then it's okay. Essentially, you can sort of shift things around a little bit there. And obviously being flex track as well, you've got even more flexibility. Essentially, Saturday being the asynchronous learning, as long as you've got that completed by the following Thursday, then everything's fine. You're still on top. But so there is a little bit of flexibility there. But as far as the when the new content is delivered, you absolutely need to be there for that because that's super, super vital. So that's if you're talking about online. If you're talking about virtual, the way virtual works is we actually have a big blue button platform which plugs into our Canvas platform, and essentially it's as close to being in class on campus as you can get without actually being there. It's quite user friendly. There's a lot of interaction. It's just really good. The educators, obviously they've been doing it for a long time now, and we essentially built the platform up from the ground up when COVID first came about. Yeah.
Awesome. Question from Simone. I heard Dallas mention that internships are only offered to students who have a first-time pass rate. What are the pass rate statistics?
Yeah, look, we want you to have a first-time pass rate. If you happen to need to resubmit on something, like don't stress, like don't have a meltdown. It happens sometimes, but essentially it's quite easy to get a first-time pass rate in assessments. As long as you pay attention to the rubric, I don't want to get too sort of caught down on this, right? But what the rubric is essentially is you have guidelines to complete an assessment, and it will essentially give you guidelines on, what is a pass, and what is a fail, and then what is like a distinction, what is a credit. It'll have all of these guidelines, okay? And all you really need to do is follow the guidelines and just make sure that you are completing everything in one column. You've completed all that, cool, that's a pass. Let's move on. Can I get a credit? Can I get a high distinction? All these sort of things, okay? So it's really not difficult to get a first-time pass rate in assessments as long as you follow the rubric. You can get a little bit, because everyone's developers, and we have like the world at our fingertips. You can do so many things. You can get caught up in sort of like a certain feature for an application that you might be building, but you just got to remember, one educator we have actually, he talks about it like a donut, okay? So basically you got the donut and you got the sprinkles, all right? You got to make sure that you have the donut finished before you put the sprinkles on, okay? So basically make sure that you got a minimal viable product, okay? So you can actually complete it and you will pass. And then once you're at that stage, that's when you can go wild. Start doing really crazy, fancy things, whatever you want to do, because you know that you're going to pass, and that's when you can start working your way up the chain. But yeah, essentially it's not overly difficult to get a first-time pass rate.
I'll just add maybe to this, we have so many questions always regarding the internship, and it's really good for people to understand that those 2 educators that are assigned to each classroom, they are there every day you are in the class, right? So they are there to support you. And so what happens is that, of course, you can ask them at any stage, but also we just want to see how you are progressing throughout the bootcamp, because we can't simply just give internship to anybody. Let's say people who will be failing in some of the parts of the exams or projects, and then eventually we will send them to our industry partners and they will not be able to produce the work. So it really comes down to, as long as you are progressing throughout the course, you are proving through working on those projects that you are learning stuff and you are getting more and more knowledge, then you will be automatically eligible for the internship. And one more thing is, we always get to ask if there is anything you guys need to do. It's actually done from our team that is based in Sydney. They are the machines behind the scene who are working with the industry partners, making sure everything is working really smoothly for you later on.
We actually have someone in every city. So
oh, great, good,
yeah,
good. Yeah,
thanks. So there's a partnerships team member in all campuses.
Alrighty, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, there was a question from Justin, but you answered it as well regarding the online delivery methods. So
oh yeah, cool.
fine.
Yeah, so essentially, yeah, so Big Blue Button is what you use, but to be honest, you don't need to do anything. Like, all that is web-based software, so there's no installation needed. Also, yeah, Discord is probably used as well. I think that's really it. And then the rest of the software that's actually required, it's part of orientation to actually install that software. I don't recommend attempting to install it and do your own thing, because what you're going to find is you will end up having to uninstall things and install things over the top of it, because the educators, for certain reasons, use certain versions of certain software. And yeah, so I wouldn't stress too much about trying to get ready with software installation, because more than likely you'll probably install the wrong version. Cool.
Any last questions, guys? I don't see anything coming in. One thing I'm going to also raise here is something we get to ask before each intake starts. Do I need to buy a new MacBook for $6,000 just to be able to code? The answer is no. Anything that you currently have, there's a 90% chances that it's gonna suffice. Don't overthink it. My personal advice is always wait. I understand that many of you will want to buy a laptop because, for example, you had it for many years and you are just right before the intake, you are thinking, okay, let's just do it now. That's fine. It's completely up to you. But at the end of the day, you want to see how it goes, how you are progressing, how you do. And then based on that, if you want to take it notch up, you can spend more money on Mac. But definitely, if it's Windows or Mac, you will be able more than fully to be able to finish the bootcamp as well.
Yeah. So what I recommend, to touch on that actually is, I personally am PC. I use a Windows laptop. So I actually say to people when they go, oh, should I get a MacBook or should I get like a Surface Book? Like, basically, just use a computer with the operating system that you're familiar with, okay? Because you're going to be learning so much in these boot camps. The last thing you want to do is try to learn a new operating system on top of learning all the new content, okay? So just stick with the OS that you're familiar with and you'll be fine. There's pros and cons with both systems when it comes to the boot camp. So really, each to their own.
Awesome. And a question from Evelyn. Do we need to study or finish a pre-course before starting the boot camp?
No. So yeah, like I said before, all we want is that we want you to be passionate about learning. We want you to enjoy problem solving, and we want you to have previously dabbled in some sort of coding. That's all we really ask of you, you know, like, yeah, so apply now. So don't even think twice, guys. Absolutely get your application in for Fast Track. It starts, you know, Monday next week. And, you know, we still need to, you know, assess the applications. We'll need to, you know, conduct the admissions interviews before we can even send you the enrollment link, so you can actually complete the enrollment and get locked into the course. So there's a few hurdles that we need to jump over. So, you know, don't wait until the last minute to actually get that application in. Cool. I think.
Awesome. I think that's it. I'm just going
to Henry. Might be time for bed.
Yes, and dinner before bed. All right,
it's been a day.
It was a bit of a day. And thanks everybody for joining us at such an evening. I know it's Monday, everybody is exhausted.
Cameron's got one last question we'll get in there. So he's feeling a little ill prepared for this. Like, I currently work as a Sparky and don't really have any coding experience. Should I be getting something first? So that link that we put in earlier, Cameron, click on that. Follow those, you know, those tutorials. That's what it's there for, just to have a bit of a play. Honestly, just get a bit of a taste. Go to freecodecamp.org. Go to, you know, codecademy.com. Use our in-house link. Do you have that at all, Henry?
Yeah, I already sent it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So basically, just have a bit of a play. Just touch on it in the chat. Yes, where is that? Hold tight.
You mean the Code Academy link for the 3 modules? Oh, I already put it there now in the chat. It's in the chat.
Oh, cool. Sweet. Yeah. All good. Oh, that's Code Academy. That's still not the same one.
Oh, okay.
Cool. There we go. Cool. So that's the one we were talking about. That's the one that was in the slideshow. No worries, Cameron. Sweet. So yeah, cool. Anyone who's on the fence, absolutely get an application in. Or if you're still worried about a few things but you want to bring your questions up, absolutely reach out to us. Give us a call, shoot us a text message, shoot us an email. You've got our details. And yeah, we'll be around Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So absolutely reach out to us. There's no stupid questions. But on that note, I think we might call it a day. Thanks for coming, guys.
Bye. Thanks.